Turning on the Wi-Fi like Obama to a white guys. Temper in the center of when the bill with some white lies. But that's politics, gets colder than the wildest thing.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Six with Ian and
Hi,
Thomas.
everybody.
We've got some news regarding Premier League because that's back in action this week. We've got Champions League coming up next week, and then just some news around the world about some possible transfers, possible movements of managers at the end of the season. First off, I'd like to start with Premier League. Obviously, again, that's back in action this week. Got some big games that had happened. I think, a lot of the teams that you expected to won their games. Man City beat Everton. Man United beat Swansea. Liverpool beat Crystal Palace.
That was
the
sketchy,
big game this week. That's true. It was close. It was 2-1, but Liverpool still pulled through with a Mo Salah finisher right at the end. He's tearing it up this season. He's absolutely destroying this league right now.
He's actually level now after that goal, the winner against Crystal Palace. He's now level with Didier Drogba for the number of goals scored in a Premier League season by an African player. So,
that's right. He's Egyptian.
To be in company with the guy they call King Drogba is pretty amazing for his debut season in what I consider to be a pretty tough league in the world.
Exactly.
So yeah.
There's a lot of top teams in this league. There were 5 English teams in the round of 8 for Champions League this season. That just shows, how resilient they can be. Obviously, there's only 2 left, and they're now playing each other in the quarterfinal. But it shows how resilient they can be, and there's still good teams and good players in the league. I think Mo Salah is definitely going to earn Player of the Year.
I think so too. I did see a kind of a neat little tidbit that Kevin De Bruyne, who, man, I'm telling you what, you want to talk about a consistent player. Kevin De Bruyne is it. If you want to talk about consistency, he's a name that has to come up in the conversation. And
absolutely.
So he's saying he deserves the PFA Player of the Year. And I'm not going to say he doesn't. I'm a Liverpool supporter, so I'm probably a little bit biased towards Mohamed Salah. But Kevin De Bruyne, season in and season out, shows up. And he's a phenomenal player. He's a top-class player. He said you can't compare him to Mohamed Salah, but he deserves PFA Player of the Year. And again, I'll reiterate, I don't say that he does not deserve it. If he wins PFA Player of the Year, I won't be surprised. If Mohamed Salah wins PFA Player of the Year, I won't be surprised. I think those two guys are top contenders for that award.
Mm-hmm. And I think compared to at least most years, there's one person who's, this is a standout season, or, there's a couple people who might win it, but nobody really knows because nobody really had a standout season. But, this season there's just a couple people who have really had that standout season, and they haven't just stood out. They've absolutely destroyed everything. I think the only 2 real contenders right now are Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne.
I'll agree with that.
Just because of the goal scoring streak that Salah has. He's scoring in almost every game. He's up to like 30 now, I believe. And Kevin De Bruyne, like you said, is consistent. He's always there,
and he's a remarkable playmaker.
Sorry, Mo Salah is up to 29. He's also leading Liverpool with assists in 9.
Wow.
Just the fact that this is his first season in, and he's cemented his place in the Liverpool starting lineup.
Oh, absolutely.
And has cemented his place for the Golden Boot race right now. I don't think anybody's gonna catch up to him because Harry Kane was closest, and he's out with injury for a couple weeks. Well, he was out with
Yeah.
injury. That's what I'm saying. He didn't, and I don't think he didn't score in their game this week.
No,
So I mean those are some setbacks. But I do think that, and I guess I'm a little biased against Liverpool, but I still think that Mo Salah is definitely top choice for PFA Player of the Year right now.
Well, and even
Just
other players
because-
around the league. I mean, you can't do anything but sing this guy's praises. They're just he's on fire, and he's having a blast. He's fitting in really well. He's going to be a cop legend. No matter what. So
yeah.
And I'll say it again. I wouldn't be surprised a bit if Kevin De Bruyne wins PFA Player of the Year. Maybe a little surprised, but not. I mean, because he's a wonderful player. He's imaginative. He's creative. He's confident, and he's consistent. And he's skilled.
Exactly.
I mean, he's good at what he does. So but I guess that all remains to be seen. And he kind of made the point when he was talking about it. You can't compare him to Mo Salah. You can't go by just head-to-head stats. If you're going to go head-to-head stats, what are you going to go by? Goals scored, assists. Kevin De Bruyne, I think, is the league leader for assists. But Mo Salah is
But he's a midfielder.
That's what he's supposed to do.
And Salah is a striker. They do completely different things.
Right, and that's the point he was trying to make. They both have a different job to do.
Yeah.
So you can't really compare them. It's not comparing an apple to an apple. So it's going to be interesting how it turns out. One of those two guys is going to win that award. In my opinion,
I absolutely believe
there's no
that.
doubt in my mind that it's going to be one of those two carrying that award away.
And usually the last couple of years that I've seen, I believe that the award has been given out rightfully. Last year N'Golo Kante won it. His first season at Chelsea. An absolute maestro in the midfield, and led Chelsea to a Premier League title. I absolutely believe he deserved that. Speaking of Chelsea,
ouch.
Terrible.
Terrible. It was terrible. It was not enjoyable. And I've said it over and over that I'm a Liverpool supporter, but I was really wanting Chelsea to come away with those 3 points because it would have helped Liverpool in the standings. It would have helped them stay a little bit tighter in third place. With Tottenham coming away with those points, kind of helps them move a little bit closer. I think they're 1 point behind Liverpool right now. And I watched that match. The thing is, I watched it. It was 1-1. I was away from the TV for 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I came back and it was 3-1, and I was like, "Holy crap, what happened?" And there was that's what happened. Dele Alli happened.
Dele he went off.
He went a little ham,
which is he's absolutely capable of doing. He's shown that he's a fantastic player, and I've been praising him for years now, and he's finally kind of showing up even more, which I'm very happy to see a young player like that. He got his call up to the England squad for the international friendlies that were very recently. And I absolutely believe he will be called up for the World Cup.
I believe that. Absolutely.
As he should.
Sure, I agree 100%.
England is kind of going through a phase very similar to what the U.S. is going through right now, where they're getting rid of a lot of their older players and bringing in a lot of their newer ones. Not as drastic as the U.S., I don't think, but it's still there.
I don't think they had to go.
And it's still very visible.
They made it to the World Cup.
Exactly, and that's another point. But he's an up and rising star that I absolutely believe will not stay at Tottenham for very long. He has the skill to play anywhere he wants. I believe he can work with a lot of different players. I believe he can work with the likes of Ronaldo, Bale, Neymar, Messi. Any of those players, he can work with them, and that's very important to do. He has that mindset. He's here to play football and have fun.
Yeah.
A lot like Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic to see. With the games this week, the table has come to Manchester City with 84 points. Manchester United 16 points behind. Liverpool is only 2 points behind United. Tottenham is 2 points behind Liverpool, and Chelsea is 8 points behind Tottenham. At this point, there's not much time left. Chelsea's gonna have to get their butt in gear if they want to make Champions League.
Yeah, because right now they're just got Europa. So yeah, there's some work to do. There's time for the work to be done. They still have Chelsea has
Absolutely
7 matches. So they've got a match in hand over Liverpool, which could help them out for sure. With the fixtures coming up, the top of the table, and it's been like this a lot this season. The top of the table has been really tight, and the bottom of the table is everything below 5th place. Even Arsenal is, it's still out of Europa. I mean, they're 5 points behind Chelsea. They came up with a win this week.
And then you got, I guess West Brom is kind of out of that picture.
I think they pretty much sealed their fate with the loss the other night.
They're 7 points behind 19th place right now, which is not good.
No, and their upcoming schedules.
They've only got
for someone who's
they've only got 3 wins this season, and they have, that's true. Jeez, they have Swansea, United, and Liverpool.
Yeah, so it's not conducive to a relegation battle that they're going to come out ahead of. Alan Pardew has been relieved of his command. Apparently got a text message letting him know that they were, quote unquote, tearing up his contract. And I think he kind of knew that was coming. But that's a hard way to get sacked. That's true. They always say that's not the coolest way to break up with somebody. But it doesn't seem like he's too butthurt over it. I think he knew it was coming. But he took West Brom and went from bad to worse real fast.
As of now, the manager of West Brom is Darren Moore, who I've never heard of.
I think he is an assistant from somewhere. I read something the other day.
That would make sense. The problem that West Brom has is I don't think it's Alan Pardew. I think it's the fact that they don't have. I guess they don't have the players. They don't have the money to. And obviously, a lot of football is about the money. You got teams like Chelsea and Barcelona who can afford, a whole squad of big name players. Yeah. And then you got, West Brom who you can't afford nearly anything. And it's a shame. They have names like Gareth Barry and Daniel Sturridge, but Sturridge is ancient at this point.
Well, and he's very inconsistent. He's not even. He had a one showing at West Brom and then he was injured again.
Yeah, he's injured again. He's got 2 goals for West Brom all season. I do think the one big player that they have going for them, which is Solomon Rondon, won't be staying at the end of the season. I absolutely believe he's leaving. I think he should
too. He's just really being stifled right now. He's got a lot of skill, and it's not being. They're not helping him build on that. They're not helping him polish his skill. And they're not doing it maliciously. They're not like, screw Rondon, we're not going to help him out. They just, like you said, they don't have the money to build a squad around him. And a lot of it is about money. You figure within the last decade, Manchester City was one of the teams who were regularly fighting relegation. And then, they've got this huge injection of cash. And now they've got players who are worth twice as much as the entire squad of some of the teams they're playing. You got guys like, Raheem Sterling, who are worth more than most of the starting 11 for Wes Brown. So yeah.
I mean, it's a very similar situation with Chelsea. I mean, obviously, they've been big for years, but they were kind of struggling for a little bit, and then Roman Abramovich came in,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, they've got a cash flow. It's kind of sad to see this, but it's just how the game works. Money is a huge part of the game. You need money to be able to do things. You need money to be able to travel. You need money to be able to buy these players, to have a decent pitch. We saw it with the Hammerheads two seasons ago. They didn't have the money to hotel their entire team for away matches, so they would bring the minimum 18, and that's who they would use. And obviously, that's kind of that's a USL level kind of problem. That doesn't happen in EPL. That doesn't happen in MLS. But it's still a problem that can happen, and that's kind of stifling. That's stifling soccer around the world, I think, because not everybody has the money.
And at times, I get kind of frustrated, because I can turn on a match, and I can tell you who's going to win. And for the most part, I'm gonna. Some of them are really exciting matches, especially like mid-table matches, low-table matches. Those are really exciting to me because you got guys, you got teams who are fighting relegation. They're fighting to stay up in the Premier League, and you got two of those teams going head to head. You can't always tell who's going to go. But if I said something, like Manchester City versus Swansea, I'd be really hard pressed to say Swansea's going to win. I think at that point someone would have to have a pistol to my head and say, listen, if you don't say Swansea, you're dead. And it comes down to the fact that, everybody knows City has the money to buy top level players like Sergio Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling and David Silva and Bernardo Silva and Gabriel Jesus. And, and Swansea don't. And I'm not dinging Swansea. Swansea's in kind of a fight right now too, but they've been kind of a staple in the Premier League since I've known the Premier League, which isn't within the last 10 years. Are they going to stay up? I don't know. And again, it comes to the money. I can look at these matches and say, this team's going to win because they've got a striker who's worth $178 million, and this team, their entire starting lineup is only $50 million.
Exactly. Another piece of news that I found out from Man City regarding Aguero is he came out recently and said, I'm going to finish out my contract at Man City, and then I'll probably head back to my hometown in Argentina and retire.
Yeah, I did see that.
He says he's fulfilled his contract. He signed a piece of paper saying he would do this. He's fulfilled that promise, and he's going to finish off his career in Argentina, which is extremely respectable.
Sure.
Respect for the guy to say, hey, I told you I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go finish off my career.
Yeah, that's an honorable thing.
It's. And there's a lot of players coming out now that say that there's a lot of big names that are going to be out of contracts here in the next couple years, and a lot of them are saying that they want to figure it out before the World Cup. So expect a lot of big news regarding contracts here before the World Cup happens, just because you've got these big names that want to do that. Also, moving a little bit over in Manchester to United, David De Gea has signed a huge new contract.
I saw that.
For Man United. He says he's signed a new $491,000 per week contract. He's 27 years old. He leads the Premier League with 16 clean sheets this season. I still don't like the guy. I think he's a little bit overrated.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's a little bit overrated in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's a decent goalkeeper. I'll give him that, and he can come up big. I just don't think he's worth that insane amount of money.
I don't either. I think he's been very fortunate to have a really strong defense in front of him, and yeah, he has come up big. There was one match he made 17 saves, and they were amazing saves. I mean, it wasn't like he was being a slouchy goalkeeper and just got lucky. He came up huge. I don't remember what match it was. It wasn't long ago. But he's been very fortunate to have a strong defense in front of him, helping him out, which is the way you want to do it. Obviously, you don't want just a strong goalkeeper or just a strong defense. You want strong both. I don't think he's as strong as his defense. I agree with you. He's not worth $500,000 a week. To me, he's just not. Now, obviously, to somebody at Manchester United, that wasn't a problem for them.
Yeah.
So and they've got the money, so
I think
out.
And I think something big behind that is the fact that he must have a very good relationship with Jose Mourinho, which is very important to Jose Mourinho. He likes to have, if he doesn't like you, he's not going to play you, and he's going to wait till your contract goes out before he lets you leave. He will make you sit on the bench for a year or two before you're allowed to leave, which is kind of a dick move. But
yeah, I think so too. I don't like this player, so I'm going to screw his career over for 2 years.
Exactly. Last little bit of news regarding Premier League, and it's not even Premier League anymore. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been traded from Man United to LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
His first match,
It was insane.
he scored an absolute masterclass goal.
Yeah, that was a worldie for sure. Man.
I mean, just beautiful goal. And I remember the commentators said, because it was LA Galaxy against LAFC, and the commentator said, LAFC, you just got Zlatan.
Truth.
Which, I mean, I was on the floor laughing at that.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely worth it. I'll see. I'll post the video link on our Facebook page.
And check out that video. It was a fantastic goal. I mean, he's not my favorite player. I mean, he's very good. I just don't like the attitude the guy has. But definitely check that out. So.
Yeah, he's a little too big for his britches. But sometimes he can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of his goals that I've seen have been kind of, he's just kind of stuck his foot out.
Yeah.
And, tapped it.
Yeah, he just kind of flails into the box and something bounces off of him, Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, this was...
I'm not going to...
Yeah, this was definitely not
This was definitely not that.
It was...
No, he had a dream about that one before it happened, and it was nice to watch.
Coming up towards the end, we've got Champions League coming up. We'll be talking about next week. Quarterfinals, big names. We've got Juventus and Real Madrid, Sevilla and Bayern. Very, very keen to see if Sevilla can pull out another upset like they did against Manchester United. Barcelona and Roma. Gotta give Barca the edge on that one.
Barcelona on that one too.
Roma just hasn't had too much of a challenge this season. Obviously, props to them for getting this far, but and the games, the two games that I'm very excited to see. Probably my favorite set for this quarterfinal is the Liverpool-Manchester City
I'm
matches.
really excited about that one myself because
as at this point, the only team to have beaten Manchester City in the Premier League is Liverpool. Can they carry over in the Champions League? That's the big question.
The good news is for Liverpool that there are a couple of things. One, leg one is at Anfield. So, the Anfield faithful, the famous Copites are going to be in full form. I would only imagine the atmosphere in that stadium is going to be absolutely vibrating. It's going to be absolutely insane. And I would love to be there. And two, everybody's kind of excited about the fact that Sergio Aguero is not going to be starting because he's out with injury. But that means Gabriel Jesus gets a start. So,
still a fantastic
absolutely.
player.
Everybody's saying, "Oh, that sound you hear is Anfield, cheering not cheering that he's hurt, but cheering that Sergio Aguero is not going to start. But the fact that you've replaced him with a guy like Gabriel Jesus, that's
Yeah.
something you got to respect him. He scores goals. So this is it's going to be a good match. I'm really excited about that one. And the Real Madrid Juventus, because Cristiano Ronaldo is kind of on a tear himself right now.
That's the replay of the final from last year.
Yes, it is. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a huge game for both teams. Again, I have to give the edge to Real Madrid.
I think so.
Just because Ronaldo's on a tear right now.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch.
So,
I'm out of stuff to talk about. Do you have anything else?
I got a few little tidbits. Peter Stoger from Dortmund is for the Bundesliga is going to not be offered a new contract. They have made that decision after Dortmund lost to Bayern Munich 6-0 last week, and they were not happy with that. So they have decided that his contract ends in May, and that'll be that. He will be gone. I know as a goalkeeper and a fan of Manuel Neuer, you'll be excited to hear that he is back in training. He's not just running and getting emotional about it. He's back in training for Bayern Munich and will probably be ready to play for the World Cup if he gets the call.
Wow.
James Rodriguez looking at a 42 million euro deal to Bayern Munich.
That's right, because he's on loan right now.
He's there on loan, and
he's on loan from Real,
and apparently that's going to be a permanent move for him at this point. Apparently, a lot of the tidbits I picked up were for Bayern Munich. I don't know why, but
I actually have one more piece of news that I just remembered. We've been talking a lot in the past couple episodes about Antonio Conte, this possibly being the end of his stint at Chelsea.
Right.
And I know me personally as a Chelsea fan, I would be happy to see that. He had his one season. He's kept us relatively high this season, but not high enough for a Chelsea fan's liking.
And I'll agree with that. Even as a guy who's not a Chelsea supporter, I think they could have done much better.
Yeah, there's rumor that there's a lot of big names that could be coming up to take his spot. We talked about Luis Enrique from a former Barcelona manager. There's one that came out recently. Juve manager Max Allegri. I'd be very happy to see that. He said he's going to be leaving Juventus at the end of the season. And the reason I'd be so happy to see that is because you can still keep the Italian style football that Chelsea's been playing with the past 2 seasons now, but you get new ideas in there. It kind of shakes up the league a little bit more, which is why I think Antonio Conte had such a big success his first season, is because it was a different style that you don't see very often in the EPL. So I think he just needs Chelsea just needs some new ideas to kind of shake things up just a little bit more. And I think Max Allegri would be a perfect fit there.
I think something needs to be. I just got a few more. If we got a couple minutes, there's apparently a rumor mill. There's apparently a rumor mill that Luis Suarez is not as happy as he wants to be at Barcelona. And there are rumors that he may be coming. Now, this is just rumor. It's unconfirmed completely. It was in a Spanish tabloid that he's apparently rumoring himself to be moving back to England. And it has been said in the past, a quote from him is that if he does go back to England, he will only play for one team. And that would be Liverpool. Will not play for another English team. So that rumor, they're like I said, it's just a one tabloid as far as I know.
I think if that happens, it'll be a couple years down the road and when he's retiring. I think he should definitely retire at Liverpool.
Okay.
Because he is getting older and he's not performing as well as he used to, but he's still performing.
Yeah.
I'd be very weird to hear that he's actually unhappy at Barcelona. I think he's enjoying himself.
I think he is too. I think he's really. I would be.
I might be wrong with that. But I would be very. It'd be very weird to hear him, actually say that.
Yeah.
I think with that we are out of time actually. We cut that just perfectly at the 30-minute mark. I think to thank you guys for tuning into this episode. I'd like to thank Macrophonic MC, who's our outro music guy. Fantastic person, really good friend of ours. I would like to point you guys down in the description. We have a t-shirt shop, and there's a second link down there now with a sticker that you can buy. Really nice sticker. I'll probably post a picture on Facebook of it. I have one on my laptop now. And then our social media links, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all three of those. I check all of them. Ian checks all of them. Very, very repeatedly throughout the day. And I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in once again.
Yeah, check us out on the
see you guys
social
next
media. Send us any comments, things like that. We want your input. We're doing this for your entertainment as much as it is for our entertainment. We have fun doing this. This is something that Thomas and I do a couple times a week anyway. We talk on the phone and holy crap, did you see this? Did you see that? So check us out and see what you think. Let us know. Check out the social media. Check out the t-shirt shop. We're going to work on getting some more logos and stuff on those. And we really appreciate it. Thanks to Macrophonic MC. He's a good friend. Congratulations to him on his new gig. He'll know what's going on. So we're proud of you. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Enjoy Champions League and the Premier League over the weekend. Thanks.
Still holding on to Wi-Fi like Obama to a white guys. Tempering the center up when they're filled with some white lies. But that's politics, gets colder than the wildest state. There's so many multitasking, they multi-taxing in spite of me. But I'm Michael Vick, finding it, standing aside and timing it. Go ahead and peak my temper, I'll meditate and then write it. Tiny fit my mode.